Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you're watching this, we're glad that you're here with us. My name is Mr. Young. I'm the Career Development Facilitator at Fort Mill High School, and I have with us today my good friend, Miss Kelly Keniston. Kelly, how you doing today?
I am great. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. I tell you what, it's great because you are here and you're in the school district, but you're not in the classroom.
Yes.
So this is going to be nice. I think sometimes when our students think about, hey, maybe working in the school district, they only think about the classroom or
Mhm.
administration, but there's lots of other awesome and fulfilling careers that are right here within reach. So I'm going to slow down and let you do a little bit of talking. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your career?
Okay, so I grew up in Michigan. My whole family graduated from Michigan State, so that was a natural progression for me. Great opportunity. When I graduated from high school, I really had no idea really what I wanted to do. My parents were school teachers, but I knew I didn't want to be an educator. I wanted to work in the business world. And being that I enjoyed math and I started taking some beginning accounting courses, I realized I really enjoyed accounting, working with numbers, and that side of business. So I was actually an accounting major until the end of my junior year. And then I can tell you the exact moment I was sitting taking an exam in intermediate accounting, and I realized this was not what I wanted to do for the rest of my career. Well, I had taken a supply chain course as an elective. And I was fortunate in that Michigan State had partnered with a lot of the big three automotive manufacturers to develop and put together a very robust supply chain program. And a lot of my professors were procurement or operations managers at Ford or GM or Chrysler. So I made the switch at the end of my junior year into supply chain. And I could pick a concentration at the time, and I went into purchasing because it gave me the same opportunity to work with numbers, but then also to work with people. And that is what really kind of led me into that career. Is it's a great chance. I work with a vast and variety of people throughout my career, and I've worked in a variety of industries. In fact, when I graduated from college, I actually worked for Archway Cookies.
Okay.
I have worked my way, and I have now ended up in a school district. Um, and it's really, I have done everything from buying fabrics to nuts and bolts and screws to working on brand new cell phones. So it has been a vast and very interesting career that has led me to the Fort Mill School District. And I will say I absolutely love my job here. And as you mentioned before, kids think that being in education, they have to be in the classroom. But
Mm.
this is working here gives me an opportunity to do what I enjoy doing, which is purchasing, working with vendors, but I'm doing it for a purpose and for a cause.
You know what I love about your story, at least what you shared so far, is how you first figured out what you didn't want,
Yes.
and that process of elimination is so crucial, because sometimes we, as students, as people who are looking for a new career, we're always focusing, well, what do I like, what do I can do, or what's going to be really good for me. But finding out what you don't like is just as important.
Yes, it is. And then narrowing it down and looking at the careers of knowing that I liked math, what's available to me, and knowing that I also wanted to work in the business arena. Okay, what could I do with math and what could I do in the business side? And then exploring. So when I decided accounting wasn't for me, I explored all the other opportunities in the business school. So be it human resources, management, marketing, but I landed on supply chain. That was the calling for me.
So, in your exploration, what was the one thing that made you say supply chain management is it?
I would say it gave me the opportunity to work with people and work with numbers.
Hmm.
It was a chance that I wanted to crunch numbers. That's why what drew me to accounting. But what led me away from accounting is I don't want to sit there all day and crunch numbers.
Okay.
So being in supply chain and it's specifically in purchasing, that I have to work with pricing, I have to work with vendors, engineering, I work with drawings, technical specifications, and you can pick an industry to really kind of fit your niche of what you want to do.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, basically supply chain management is we're building a building and we need the supplies to make it happen.
So what I like to use, the example I like to use for supply chain, let's take a carton of orange juice at the grocery store. So the entire supply chain starts with the farmer that is growing the oranges to make this orange juice.
Hmm.
So he plants the oranges. He has to have a crew come in and pick the oranges. Now he has a truck that's going to transport that to the facility that's actually going to press and make the oranges, orange juice. But you also have to look at, there's a packaging company now because you have to have the cartons.
Yeah.
So now the packaging company is a whole nother company that they're making these cartons or these jugs for the orange juice, labeling them for the different brands, different stores. Now you have to put those on a truck that are going to go to the processing plant. All of this is supply chain. So then once you have your cartons and you put the juice in the cartons, it now has to go to the grocery stores. So you bring in a trucking company that then is either going to send it directly to the grocery stores or it's going to go to a warehouse. And from the warehouse, then it's dispersed to the grocery stores. All of that is transportation. You have purchasing, you have to buy the packaging, the labels, the other ingredients if you're adding something to orange juice. So all of that process is your full supply chain. So supply chain is purchasing, its operations, warehouse management, transportation. So there are different facets within supply chain. And I know a little bit of everything. So my degree and my focus is purchasing. I know operations and I know a little bit about transportation and I know a little bit about warehousing.
This is really exciting. So it sounds like if you have an eye for detail and for process, and you want to be involved in a lot of different things, the supply chain management is a great field.
Yes, because you also, you're dealing with the trucking companies. You're dealing with, so if I'm working for the orange juice company, I'm working with the growers to get the oranges in. I'm working with packaging, the trucks coming in. Then I have to work with the in-house engineers who are designing the packaging or the labels or how we're going to get it packaged to send it to the grocery store so that they don't get crushed. There's a lot of working parts in there, and being in purchasing or planning or whatever part of it, you're going to touch and talk to all these different groups.
So with all these different moving parts, what would you say is the best thing about your career?
Every day it's a new day and you have no idea what it's going to come up. So especially working here at the school district, I have bought everything from golf carts to student desks to chairs, things that you just never would guess. Um, I've worked, like I said, for Archway Cookies. I've worked for a cell phone manufacturer. Seeing it go from a drawing to a completed cell phone
Mm.
is so exciting. The highlight of my career, I was working on a new phone that AT&T featured in a television commercial.
Oh, wow.
And to see a phone that I saw as a drawing, and I worked with the vendors and I worked with the manufacturing plant and everything that goes into it to get it as an end product to AT&T, to see them selling it to the public was probably one of the highlights of my career, to see that.
That is awesome. I can imagine to see, like you said, from the thought of it to actually the physical piece. That is great.
And the other opportunity it gave me is the travel. So when I was working for the phone company to visit vendors all over the world, it truly was a global supply chain that I was dealing with. So
Mm.
I had the opportunity to travel to Asia, to Europe, Mexico, Canada, places that I typically probably would not choose to go, but I'm so grateful that I had an opportunity to do it.
Okay. So then let's talk about the other side. We talked about the best
Okay.
part. What are some of the more challenging aspects to your career?
So being in manufacturing, um, dealing with the customers and also dealing with the other aspects in the company. So you're waiting on information. Your end goal is to satisfy the customer, but you're waiting for information from engineering, or you have a storm that's now going to hold up your truck.
Mm.
And okay, so now what does manufacturing do? So, and especially in the automotive world, if you're supplying to the big manufacturers, if their line goes down, they're going to charge you a fee. And so that's kind of holding over your head that if I don't get my parts in here and I don't get to GM, Ford, Chrysler, any of the big guys, if I shut their plant down, back when I was in the automotive, it was about $30,000 a minute. They would back charge the supplier if their plant was shut down.
You said 30,000 a minute?
30,000 a minute. So companies had gone bankrupt for not having a very robust plan for making sure that their parts were there. So that was probably the most stressful part.
Wow. Yeah, I can only imagine that type of pressure. But you survived it. You did very well. You thrived in that environment.
I did, but you also then realize you can't do that all the time. After a while, you get a little bit burned out, and so that's what's great about having a supply chain degree or having a focus in this is that you can pick what industry you want to go into.
Okay.
You don't have to go in automotive. You don't have to have that kind of pressure. You can go into a different type of industry or, new product development, which you're not under the time constraints that you would be dealing directly with customers.
Hmm. So this sounds like a great career with lots of options.
It
Say,
is.
last question that I have for you. Let's say that you have the entire population of Fort Mill High School and you can tell them one message about picking their career or career choices or whatever have you. What's the one message that you want them to walk away with?
Don't be afraid to explore different options. If you think you're set on one thing, but you go along and you realize that that may not be for you, don't be afraid to say, hey, this isn't for me. And to look at other options, ask people questions, explore it, involve. Don't be afraid to reach out to people that might be working in a position that you're interested in or a career that you're interested in. And just do your homework and figure out what you really like to do and just explore it and try it. And like I said, I've been in a variety of industries. I really love my chosen profession of purchasing, but I've been in a number of industries and had different types of purchasing and supply chain jobs. And once you hone in on what you want, it makes it a lot easier.
That's a great message and a great way for us to end this. Miss Kinston, thank you so very much. We
Oh,
really, really appreciate you. Students, teachers, stay tuned. We're going to have more of these interviews coming up. So until then, we'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.
all right, bye. Thank you.